Hello everybody, I am Jmulls of Jmulls Gaming, and Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is actually pretty good. So let's mull over it, let's give my first impressions to the latest Indiana Jones game, and I've been really liking it. There's a special room in hell for whoever made the decision for the PC port to lock your cursor in the game window and not give you an option to move it. I don't know if that's a weird bug or if that's intended design, but it's god-awful. And I had one other significant issue, and that was for like half my stream, the cursor was visible in the middle of the screen and just wouldn't go away. It was super distracting for me, but luckily I can make it not show on OBS, so it shouldn't be in too much of the footage. But besides that, and some absolutely janky cutscenes and animations, the game's really good, and in a lot of ways, I think it does feel like playing one of the movies. In fact, the beginning of the game is just the opening to Raiders, pretty much one for one, and you just play through that section as like a tutorial, a hint at the things and the tone of the game that you will have later down the line. Going into the game, my expectations were okay. I thought the writing from the trailers looked pretty good to me. It felt like it was Indiana Jones, and that was way more than I thought initially when they announced the game. Because when I talk about this game, and when I think people hear about this game, it feels like it should just be another modern gaming blunder. And when it comes to the PC port and the optimization that I had, a little bit, but the actual game that's there, I really like the foundation they have. It's fun and enjoyable, and there's like weirdly good level design, a bunch of places to go off the beaten path to discover and look for extra stuff, or even power-ups, a bunch of like extra mysteries you can find as you're exploring these locations and then partake in, like side quests kind of. The big thing that threw me off initially when I was hearing about this game was the fact that it's first person. The moment I actually got into the game, it's pretty fine. I thought from like looking at gameplay of this game that the gameplay looked solidly mid. It didn't look special, nothing looked particularly interesting. But I will say, getting my hands on the game and punching out some of these people you can fight in this game, it's easy. I'm playing on like normal mode. It's not a hard game, but it doesn't have to be, because when you land your punches, good god does it feel good. It's fast and quick, but it's the animations of these enemies getting thrown by your hits. Or when you hit them with a combo and they like bend over, so you land another punch, but Indy does like an uppercut right onto their jaw and they fly like 2 feet backwards. Oh, that's not a way you... Or when you sneak up behind them with a Spanish guitar, hit them right in the nuts, they turn around, and then you, like you're wielding Excalibur, but it's a Spanish guitar, strike at them with it, and it blows up, and they like roll in the air into a whole bunch of boxes. It feels so good. The sound design is just mwah. And you combine that with the one-liners that Indiana Jones throws out throughout the gameplay, I think it's clear that this game is a love letter to the movies. I think Troy Baker also does an amazing job as Indiana Jones. But I think most people going into this game or being interested in this game are looking not necessarily for the most engaging gameplay experience of all time, but they want to play the movies. They want to play Indiana Jones. They want that feel. Going into these ancient ruins or temples and exploring, solving puzzles and overcoming traps and all that. They want that Indiana Jones humor because it's so intrinsic to these movies. You need to nail the writing, and at least so far, I'm only a few hours in, the writing has been solid. Indiana Jones is as charming as ever, and he's like juxtaposed with a bunch of goofy characters, but nothing like too obnoxious. It's just a really solid experience overall. And there's a lot of options when it comes to how you want to engage in these gameplay sections, because there's a lot of them. This is not a cutscene simulator. They throw you into these levels, and there's a lot of places you can go off the beaten path to find secrets and uncover these like mysteries, which are pretty much side quests. You're uncovering clues. Early on, it's very basic because they're like tutorials kind of. they're getting your feet wet with the mechanics that they'll utilize as the game goes on, I imagine. But I think this game makes a very solid first impression. The combat does not have a lot of depth to it. It's more than just spam the attack button. You can charge a punch up if you want to. You can shove the enemy to kind of break their guard or whatever. You can even guard and try and get a parry. Maybe it's because I'm just playing on normal mode, but just spamming punching kind of works for me. Because Indiana Jones feels like a god himself. He feels like he shouldn't be an explorer or a professor. Dude needs to get into the boxing ring with haste. Man could be making millions and millions. I'm fairly confident Dude could outbox Mike Tyson in his prime after what I've seen in this game. Man's punches are a lethal weapon. And you would think this game would be a stealth game, and there are stealth sections, but you don't have to be stealthy if you don't really want to. My general MO is I'll try to be stealthy, but if I break stealth, I'll just punch everyone out. Because while the actual boxing mechanics are really simple, like do not expect a lot of depth here, but landing those punches just feels satisfying to me. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not going into an Indiana Jones game looking for like mechanical complexity or Elden Ring DLC level difficulty, right? I just want to feel like I'm going on an Indiana Jones adventure. And I could see an argument some people make, or at least could make, that they would want more cutscenes and more story, because you can have these gameplay sections go on for a long time if you want. If you want, you can just go to the main story and just keep going there. I like going off the beaten path and exploring. I don't know, it's just been a good time for me. And I think it goes to show that 2024 has been a really good year for gaming. And I think Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, at least from what I've played so far, has been an excellent way to cap off 2024. I'm looking forward to playing the game even more. The game is really pretty. I don't know necessarily how it will run on lower end machines, but good God, when you crank those graphics up, it is absolutely gorgeous. I will say, I think it's a bit of a case where the game and itself looks really pretty, but because of how good it looks, the animations for the character models can look really jank. This was especially true in the beginning of the game, and in those like scenes that took place in the university where Indiana Jones works, because that's kind of where the game begins, after the whole you play through the beginning of Raiders of the Lost Ark. But I think so far, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is a really solid foundational experience that is rough around the edges in terms of the overall optimization of the game and the presentation of it, but I think it gets right what it needs to. Because if this quality holds for the rest of the game, I'm going to want Indiana Jones to become a new game staple. I will want this to become a series of multiple Indiana Jones games, just going on these wacky adventures. Because so far, I think they've nailed the feeling of Indiana Jones. The writing feels like it's in line with the movies, and it has just enough wackiness and silliness in terms of the characters and the dialogue, but not too much where it feels like it's goofing on itself or anything. It feels in line with the movies to me. And while the gameplay, at this point at least, has about the same depth in terms of the combat as a puddle, it's simple, but it is clean and effective, and it's satisfying. And I've barely even used the gun. I just like finding random things to pick up and beat enemies with, whether or not it's like a couch leg, a Spanish guitar, a violin string, a Renaissance like bust. I think they had fun with this game, and that's what I would want out of Indiana Jones. Like, I am 3 hours into this game, and I've done all of the following. Replayed the beginning to Raiders of the Lost Ark, fought a giant, infiltrated a castle in Italy, dressed up as a priest while infiltrating the Vatican, found a secret library, explored a tower, punched out like half the Italian army, broke someone out of prison. Yeah, I'm just really, really, really happy that they didn't seemingly mess Indiana Jones up so far. Because when they announced this game, the only thing I could think of was, oh good, how can they mess this up now? But it got right, at least so far, the thing they needed to get right, and that was the feeling of Indiana Jones. Thumbs up for me. And if you don't mind, I kind of want to go play some more. Thank you all for tuning in. My pleasure making the video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe. It'd really help the channel out and help support future content, and I greatly appreciate it. I think we have mulled over Indiana Jones and the Great Circle long enough for one day. Bye-bye, everybody. Leave a comment down below with, if you're interested in Indiana Jones, what your favorite movie is, and why is it Last Crusade? Let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts and hear your opinions and hear your perspectives. Stay safe, have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Until we meet again.